probably preaching to the converted a little bit, but just to set the scene and context around what business analysis is. If you're not aware, IIBA is more or less a sort of peak body across the world for business analysis, International Institute of Business Analysis. And BABOK, the business analysis body of knowledge, is, I guess, the Bible, or, you know, in some circles, the Bible. So I guess I thought, you know, what better source to draw the definition from? It's the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. So much more than just the old, you know, BAs go and gather requirements and that sort of thing. It's a lot more than that. I guess in FedGov, it sort of sometimes gets distilled down to some basic stuff, but you know, depending on where you go, it can be a lot more, and probably should be a lot more. And what are business analysts? So again, from BABOK and IIBA, they're responsible for discovering, synthesizing and analyzing information from a variety of sources within an enterprise, including tools, processes, documentation and stakeholders. And why is it important? So it enables the organisation to identify and prioritise problems and their solutions. So not just through, I guess, the small scope of engagement. A lot of business analysis can include, I guess, systems thinking approaches and give you a wider range of understanding across the business, and not just the narrow scope of the capability you're looking at. It provides a connection between business needs, processes, capabilities and functions. So touches a little bit into business architecture, and as we'll look at in a second, business analysis skills span a lot more than just a business analyst role. It enables that, sorry, I can't read. So I guess that final statement, which I can't read and people on the online can probably see, is more or less the traditional understanding where you're connecting business needs to requirements or system benefits and outcomes. And how does it help? So it basically tries to distill a problem statement into clearly defined business needs, requirements, decomposing those from, you know, high-level business needs and requirements through to functional specifications. In some cases, not all cases, obviously. And then it's managed through stable and consistent process. So a lot of the time, some organisations tend to do sort of first pass and then not manage requirements after that first pass. So what we'll see later on is high business analysis capability really manages that process a lot longer than just once the thing is developed or once the process map is defined. As I said before, business analysis doesn't just focus on the business analyst role. There's a lot more that it covers, and even sort of some more modern domains like service design and user research. They're still leveraging business analysis type skills. So it's not just a business analyst that does business analyst things. It's, you know, business architects, analytics, data analytics, project managers, product owners, a whole range of different domains and sort of related roles. So I guess, yeah, more into the crux of the presentation today, or the clinic today, you know, talking about capability and how you increase capability, or at least how you baseline where you're at and you know, move forward and continually improve. So some, I guess, indicators of low business analysis capability could be you know, engagement of stakeholders being somewhat limited. So you're only engaging with a certain cohort of stakeholders, or you know, you're only talking to expertise, people with expertise in the field, and not going to the sort of basic type users and covering edge cases. Not defining current, future and transition requirements. So you might only define, you know, future requirements, and not cover your current state. It's important to understand where you're coming from, to know where you're going. So again, processes aren't well documented or understood. Not gaining enough business input to solution design. So you can find sometimes that solution architects or designers might not look at business input. They might just be, I guess, to put it bluntly, finding a technology solution to solve a problem and not, actually having a business problem to solve. Not capturing scope changes. So things, especially with agile projects, things change. It's important to manage the scope change over time so that you're not going back and, gold plating things where you don't need to, or you're sort of managing changes and documenting changes and decisions and those sorts of things as you go forward. So a lot of pain gets inflicted by not capturing those things, and you realize later that you've made a decision, you haven't written it down, and people ask why. Hopefully it doesn't come through a Senate estimates inquiry or midpoint review for an MPP. And another thing is no governance oversight for BA artifacts and tools and techniques. So nobody's, I guess, making sure that there's a fit for purpose to things. It's not to say that you have to do that for every single thing, but at least some oversight and peer review process is good. And then I guess on the flip side, what does higher business analysis capability look like? So it's more or less the opposite of what we just went through. So you've got, I guess, a toolkit of methods and techniques that are well defined and understood and actually followed. You're identifying stakeholders, actively managing them, actively engaging them. You're sort of doing your proper stakeholder analysis and actually writing things down and who you're talking to, what their, I guess, potential traits are and engagement looks like. You're defining not just future state, but also current state processes, and actually having a formal sort of review process around the opportunities that they present and prioritising the opportunities as well. A little bit about how we've structured, I guess, how we do things as a design analysis hub, and potentially how you could apply things in your organisation. So this is the model we've applied for our operating model, basically. At a higher level, we've got 3 arms there, and then I guess we've got our service offering as well. So, as a private company, we offer services and products. That's not any different as a federal government capability. You're still offering a service to your internal clients. One of the, I guess, concepts or ideas around operating models is consistency. So making sure that you've got a knowledge and ability to do things in a certain way. Way we operate is that everybody has input to that. So you've got a sort of fair and level playing field, and everybody has buy-in and understanding of what the expectations are. Well, 3 big reasons. So you're predictable in terms of what you're producing and the quality of those artifacts that you're producing. And then that enables you to, I guess, make sure that one BA is more or less producing the same sort of thing for one project as the next project, and people can move projects and they get an understanding of what to expect when they pick up something from somebody else, or to start a new project, they know exactly what they need to do. That's not to say that it doesn't evolve. Things obviously evolve, and your tools and techniques and your playbook changes over time. And I guess also making sure that you're looking at things from different viewpoints as well. So having a standard suite of artifacts that you're producing really makes you look at things from a macro level to a micro level, and really, I guess, have all the different layers that support that throughout the suite of artifacts you're producing. It gives you that holistic look over whatever it is that you're engaged on project-wise. So one of the big elements to uplifting capability is obviously development, making sure that you're learning from each other, supporting each other, and also baselining and improving that capability. So the PDCA loops, making sure that you're continually improving and working out where you're coming from and where you need to go. Little story. So when I'm not sure if you guys are still doing it, when I was at the ABS, we used to do, I think it was weekly sessions. One we'd do a shareback session on some new technique that somebody had tried. And the next would be another learning session, just based on a topic that somebody had picked up and wanted to share. And then those would go through a bit of a loop where that technique would get vetted or endorsed by the group, and it would become part of your toolkit. So that's what we're trying to do as a hub as well, and what we'd advocate for with clients too, so that you're not static and you're always learning from each other, and best ideas win, or best techniques. Obviously to support that, you need a good toolkit. So the way we've structured things as a hub again is our sort of playbook or toolkit encompasses activities, techniques and practices. So activities are what you do, techniques are how you do it, and then practices I see it as the mindset going into whatever it is that you're doing. So you could be doing a SWOT analysis or story mapping exercise, and you're just making sure that you've got an open mind throughout that, and talking to as many people as you can, or engaging the right people at the right times. And obviously there's a lot of material and guidance that goes behind that as well. So it's not just do this thing, it's how you'd actually apply it for the context of your organisation. So templates, guidance, material, all that sort of stuff goes into that and sits behind it. And then we've got governance as well. So as we looked at earlier, like high business analysis capability leverages people having the toolkit, but actually following it and having a peer review process. So I guess some of this is generic across FedGov and private organisations. We have a slightly different hiring process to FedGov, obviously, but the same peer reviews get applied. The same sort of resource management would be applied. So you've got people rolling off and on projects. Different people have different skill sets. So you know where best to place people for your next client or customer. So again, another one of our IPs is the maturity assessment model. It covers, so it's slightly different again to the operating model. It covers what we see as the major elements or components of business analysis. So you've got in center wheel, elicitation, modeling and solutioning, business process re-engineering, requirements definition and analysis, stakeholder management, and then wrapping around that or supporting that is metrics and reporting, standards and methods, governance and organisation, and tools and technologies. If there's no questions though, we'll wrap it up there, and thanks everybody for your attendance and participation.